Right, I know this video is going to improve your game. This is some content that I've shared with my online clients. I'm going to be covering all aspects of the game. Make sure you subscribe. This playlist is going to cover everything from driving to how you should practice to short game. So make sure you hit that button and I'll speak to you later. Right, morning, afternoon, evening subscribers. Thank you to Rob for the message. I'm glad to see you're on Skillest promptly. So obviously I asked all of you what you'd like to see. He's caught me at a good time. I'm about to go and play 9 holes. I'm actually teeing off in 15 minutes. I'm also hoping that this works. So it'd be quite interesting to see the footage. Yes, I know I'm quite a loud person, probably don't need a mic, but I wanted to hopefully make some better content. So, before we get into it, oh my God, the weather, by the way. We are in September and it is like nearly 30 degrees. I know you Americans have no clue what 30 degrees Celsius is. Is that like mid-80 Fahrenheit? I actually don't know. It's damn hot. It's beautiful. I'm not going to complain about it. So, Rob wanted a little chat about lag putting. And I think one of the biggest things the struggle is, every time you go to a golf course, every green speed is a little bit different. But I think your preparation for that round is key, and also developing an understanding of actually what sort of stroke goes what sort of distance. We are all very good at knowing that you have 153 yards to the flag, whether you're looking at a watch, whether you're looking at a GPS and a buggy, whether you're looking at a laser. But when it comes to putting, we estimate how far the hole is. We don't actually know. So what we can do as a part of a pre-shot, and this won't take any sort of time, is developing sort of a step system. So if I just took my normal steps, now I'm not going to use it as like, okay, that's 6 foot, that's 8 foot, that's 15 foot. If I just literally walk normally, I've got little legs. I know that my step is going to be smaller than someone who's a lot taller than me. So rather than trying to work out what a yard is, and that's 3 foot, and then that's 6 foot, why don't I just develop my own system where I come to a green and I go, right, well, I'm gonna go 5 steps, 10 steps, and 15 steps. And then I'm gonna try to develop some sort of relationship between my putting stroke and how many steps that particular shot is. And then when I go onto a golf course, should I not then just step out my putt? And then I have that brain connection of like, well, that's roughly 10 steps. I worked on what roughly 10 steps was with my putting stroke. I just need to do that. So for example, if I just do my 5 step, 10 step, 15 step, I'm gonna use tees. So I'm not aiming for a hole. I'm taking the target out of the equation. I'm just purely referring to speed and not ultimately direction. Right, now here we go. This is where my mic is gonna be. I'm hoping that you can hear me just as normally. Okay. So there's my 5, 10 and 15 steps. That's my metrics. That's my particular distance. So if I went to the putting green, I should be like, right, well now, should I go, I'm probably gonna go 15, 10, 5, just to see how my natural feel is on the particular day. So just gonna look at my target, 15 foot, try and finish it just left of the tee. That has gone a little past. So then let's develop my 10 step feel. That is pretty perfect. And then let's try to develop my 5 step feel. A hair short. So if I do this over and over, I will start to develop a brain connection with my putting stroke and a 5 step, 10 step, 15 step approach. Now, as you know, I'm about to go and play 9 holes. I'm going to actually take this into account. So I'm going to develop this and use it in my own game. So here we go. So I'm not a huge fan of block practice all the time, but if I'm trying to develop a feel, now my 15 step putt was probably the worst out of the 3. So maybe I need to do 3 putts towards the 15 step. That has gone way too That is actually, oh, that's pretty perfect actually. Right, where's some consistency? It's a touch short, but I'd be pretty happy. I'm not going to expect to hold it from 15 steps away. And that's probably an overreaction. There you go. See, like I mentally reacted, and then I hit the third one a bit too hard. So this, I definitely feel, is a great way to develop a lag putting routine that you can do pre-round, which I think is so important when you go onto a golf course. You shouldn't just hopefully walk out the first step, walk out your car and go straight to the first tee. The other thing which you may have noticed, and I've done this on purpose, is that I did not take a practice stroke. I've been doing this for 3 rounds now. I read a study and I wanted to test it first before maybe mentioning it to you guys. My putting, I'll be completely honest, is probably the worst part of my game. I really don't feel a very confident or very good putter. I hit the ball fairly accurately. I'm probably gonna hit it horrendously now. But I always felt my putting was pretty poor. And there was this report that came out on social media. This sort of brain scientist did 6,000 brain scans on people putting, and practice strokes whilst putting had a 95% negative impact on the putt. It didn't say you missed it, but it had a 95% negative approach. Now, the way that sort of translates, if I'm standing over a putt and I'm doing these practice strokes, and say I'm going to this 5-step putt, obviously I am reacting to what I've done and realizing whether I feel that was too much or too little. So the argument is, I used to do 3 practice strokes. So have I missed the putt 3 times before then actually putting for the 4th time? So it maybe is something to try. I'm not saying this is something you have to do, but it's definitely a consideration to do all your normal green reading. I still line up my line and still have all that, but I've now got rid of the practice strokes and I'm becoming more reactive to the distance, i.e., you know, if I threw you a ball, I'm not going to throw it straight over your head, but I'm also not going to go, that's what I need to do, and then throw it to you. It's just an instinctive reaction. So it's definitely something to consider whether you feel that you want to try it. I had nothing to lose. I'm like, my putting couldn't get any worse. If I do a practice putt or not a practice putt, then it doesn't really matter. I've definitely found an improvement. Definitely have hold more putts of the sort of length where you've got a chance. I'm not saying that I've been holding like 30-foot putts every time, but those sort of 8 to 12-foot putts where you're like, oh, maybe, but yeah, of course, realistically, you've got more chance of missing it. I've definitely found a positive reaction to that by being just reactive to the distance, walking up. For example, I don't know if you can actually see. This is where we go. Oh, you can't see. Oh, okay. Look, you've got like a little putt just there. You can see the hole. Oh, the hole just there. So let's use this as a scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's my 5-step approach. Can I generate that sort of connection with where I'm going? Am I still in the shot, or have I moved myself? There we go. Oh, well, let me actually move you. So I still go through my proper routine. I still line up my putt. I would still read the green. God, it's a bit of a weird one actually. I think it's fairly straight-ish. It does go slightly uphill. Now, of course, my 5, 10, 15 step approach is obviously going to be based off a fairly flat putt. Of course, if I'm going uphill, 15 steps uphill is obviously going to will require more of a stroke than 15 steps downhill, but that is something that you can develop. And then you start to get clever and you're like, well, okay, well now it's like 7 steps. That's somewhere between my 5 and my 10. Right, so I've lined it up. I'm pretty confident. And to be fair, it's like in a little bit of a bowl. So I'm just gonna walk up to the putt. I've got my 5-step idea behind it. When I line up, I'm pretty happy that I'm confident, so I don't really need to look at the hole. 5-step approach. That was a close putt. I gave it a chance. I'm quite happy with that. So that's what I would do when it comes to lag putting. I think you need to develop a system. I think you need to develop a system that you can translate onto the golf course, literally walking steps. You can walk steps because, you know, especially as, okay, we're coming into autumn with the weather today, but I would be walking, clearing my path of leaves, so I can just walk back and be like, right, that's 15 steps. I've done a bit of work on my 15-step stroke, then I'm going to hit it 15 steps. And then hopefully that reaction and that connection I've had with my practice and my putting method will definitely help me, right? Any questions, feel free to fire away. I hope you're all well. I hope you have a nice weekend. I hope this has been a benefit to the content. And as always, massively appreciate every one of you subscribers, and have a great weekend.